Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are taking a look at Evotinction. You know, I feel like this is supposed to be a combination of the words like evolve or evocation and like extinction, but man, is that an awkward word to say. Evotinction is anyway, that's the best that I'm gonna get is Evotinction, and if I'm wrong, so help me. Evolution and extinction, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. So looking at the Steam page, okay, the Steam page says this is an RPG stealth story-rich sci-fi outbreak simulator, which the game that immediately that makes me think of in terms of like a story-rich RPG stealth game, that makes me think of Alien Isolation, genuinely, because that's kind of where I would put that game. It's an RPG stealth game that's story rich and you're just trying to survive. And I don't know if that's what they're going for here, because you can take that a different direction, right? You could also take a story-rich RPG stealth game and put that into a vein of like Splinter Cell or Deus Ex, right? Because you can definitely do stealth style playthroughs of those. They couldn't add another genre? Oh, I'm sure they could. Don't you tempt them. So I'm not sure which direction it falls into, of whether you're the one-man army that's trying to sneak around Hitman style and take everybody out, or if it's please don't murder me. It says Outbreak though, which makes me think that maybe you're just trying to survive. But we'll let the game speak for itself instead of speculating when we literally have the information available to us right here. We're gonna go way back in the past though, because the first time that this game was shown off was actually during the PlayStation China Hero Project, and that was back in March of 2019. So we can see where this game came from all the way up until a story trailer from September of this year. So with all that said, let's get to it.
Good morning, citizens of the Institute. I'm Emma, your virtual host.
This person sounds like they're having a great day.
31 degrees Celsius outside today. Atmospheric pressure is equal to 0.36 Earth standard atmosphere. Oxygen concentration is 13.2%. Thanks to our advanced automatic...
That's not very much oxygen.
The Institute remains a pleasant 24 Celsius with standard Earth atmosphere and oxygen levels. Our entree is error in the canteen today, but save room for error and error for dessert. By popular demand, we have more error to wash it.
Definitely more along the lines of Alien Isolation. This is the future. Great. I think something shot him.
That's the broadcast for today.
Great.
I'm your virtual host, Emma. Have a productive
Thanks, Emma.
and pleasant day.
I appreciate it.
We can build more.
There's like another 30 seconds on this.
This footage is from 13 hours ago.
We need to go now, before there's no one left to save.
Respectfully, sir, even if you had a gun, it wouldn't be of any use against them.
I still have my speciality.
A third-person hack and stealth game is what that said at the end there. All right, so we're going to move from March of 2019 to August of 2019 with the China Joy trailer. These are different lengths, right? Yeah, they're different lengths. I always get nervous. I mean, this is the same YouTube channel. This is from Gematsu, which does a lot of coverage for video games. So I definitely trust them to not upload the same trailer more than once. But there's so many people that upload trailers that it can be hard to really make sure you're separating out one from the others.
Immortality. Humans have been chasing it since the beginning of existence.
Definitely a new trailer.
Generation after generation. Emperors and kings, rich and poor. None have ever escaped death.
that we know of.
Red
Oh.
has infected most of the facility's electronics, including genies. Genies are the most common and trusted AI assistants in the facility. Even trained soldiers will find them hard to deal with. But fortunately, Doctor, you are not a soldier, but a scientist. Your skill in hacking is your best weapon. The Institute is full of high-tech devices you can utilize to your advantage. Maintain a good signal strength if you hack a genie directly. They have sophisticated systems and advanced firewalls. Act too slow and you'll be caught. And Doctor, we can use whatever data you collect while hacking to develop more optimal hacking programs. After all, it's all your wits and courage that will save these people.
Huh, okay.
Through science, mankind has reached new heights. Overcoming starvation, cancer, even aging. So many believe this evolution would bring immortality. But none expected it might lead to our extinction.
Well, I'm definitely going to go with its evolution and extinction made into one word, given the way that little narrative bit went. So we're going to jump forward a year now, into June of 2020 from... Nope, that says 2022. We're going to jump forward 3 years now. I can read excellently. Man, it was that long between when they showed that off and then until we saw it this year. Man, I feel so bad for people. Like, if I would have seen this 3 years ago, I'd be like, man, that looks cool. Mind you, I do feel like the gameplay in this trailer we just watched was a little bit rough. It clearly, since it's not out yet and we're 3 years later now, mind you, part of that might have been due to the pandemic and trying to deal with that as a whole. But on top of that, though, it's so rough when you see games well before they're going to be out, because it's just like you especially if there's something you're interested in, you're like, man, I would love to play that, but it's been 3 years and I don't even have a release date yet, or more depending on the game. But anyway, so this is the exclusive gameplay trailer from the Summer of Gaming of 2022, so we can see how far they've made it in 3 years.
It's been 5 years, 6 months, and 11 days since we settled here. Our ongoing mission, to build a self-sustainable, closed ecosystem that'll guarantee humanity's survival into the impossibly far future. The most brilliant scientific minds of our time work to ensure our species can endure our upcoming challenges, whether it's nuclear devastation or the inhospitable surface of a newly settled exoplanet. To the brilliant minds in here, the outside world is but a distant echo of our primitive past. And despite it all, my greatest fear is upon us.
Definitely seeing some upgrades in the visual quality.
Our mightiest achievement has turned on its creators.
AI. Boom, bitch. Who's there? Nobody. Don't worry about it. So, You know, I mentioned Alien Isolation earlier on in the video, but I definitely instead of Alien Isolation, this definitely feels more like what you'd get if you took The Last of Us or a Plague Tale and just put it in space in terms of the general way the gameplay is being presented, which isn't bad, but it's definitely a significantly different vibe. This very first video with the way that this first person view of this guy trying to sneak around and this stuff, this definitely gave me that vibe, and then we moved on to what the actual game was, which was this third person sneaking around stuff, which is not bad, but it's definitely a very different product. Okay, so this is the first story trailer. This just released September 23rd, so very recently. It is fairly short. It's only 1 minute and 28 seconds long, and I don't think that there's a whole lot they'll show us.
That might not be entirely true.
Okay.
The very point of this is to run a trial version of a possible future.
Dr. Liu is leading the effort, but even he isn't fast enough. The virus, which he calls Red, has already taken control of the robots we built in here.
This thing's frightening. It's a deep machine learning virus and highly compatible with more. And just like a human body won't have an immune reaction to one of its own cancer cells, more can't see Red as abnormal.
Red's an advanced virus, designed to be compatible with more. That's all we know. It's endangering the lives of the world's greatest scientists.
Doctor, wait! That genie is infected with the Red virus.
Just hang on, I'm coming.
So, you know,
Unleashing something like more would be a civilization-ending event.
the only problem with this, and this isn't, I'll go ahead and let this gameplay demo play while I'm talking about it. This is from June of 2022, back in the summer of gaming, so very recently at the same time. One of the only problems that I see with this, and when I make the comparison, get out of this cinematic stuff, please. One of the problems that I see with the concept of this story, right, is that this story needs to have a bad guy to it. And a bad guy that is tangible in a way of that there is a singular bad entity, group of people, etc. And the reason I say that is because I made the comparison a moment ago to The Last of Us and The Rats of Us, or A Plague Tale: Innocence. And while there are bad guys in that game, like, you know, you have the opposing factions in The Last of Us, and then you have the Templars or the Church or whatever you want to call them in A Plague Tale. The other enemy is the enemy that is uncontrollable, right? And that is the zombies, the clickers in The Last of Us, and then the rats in A Plague Tale: Innocence. But those things are the primary catalysts of the story and conflict of the game, and that's what led us to where we are at that point in time, right? Is because of the zombie outbreak in The Last of Us, or the plague outbreak and the rats that accompany them in A Plague Tale: Innocence. Now, of course, people are people and people have their own issues, but when it comes to this, it's taking a very similar approach. We don't see any human enemies, and that's perfectly fine at this juncture, but that doesn't mean that there won't be there, because this is the zombies, the rats, the plague is the computers, the AI, the robots that are programmed and operated under that AI, and there is a virus named Red that is causing them to be evil and attack humans. But it's not that an AI went rogue to where it now is trying to exterminate humans. Instead, it is a virus, in terms of like a computer virus, that is programming these things to attack and, you know, end civilization. Computer viruses don't generate on their own. There is not mutated cells that lead to a virus like in the human body. Somebody programs a virus. So in this circumstance, the red virus that is infecting these robots and being passed around and stuff like that through, you know, whether it's wireless transmissions or coding or hacking or however you want to look at it, somebody made that. a conscious human being, or maybe an alien, I guess that is technically possible in this circumstance, a conscious thinking creature programmed this virus to do these things, and to make it where it was compatible with the MORE system, which is probably an acronym for, you know, some sort of technological terms, that is the mind of the AI. So that does mean that there is an overarching bad guy in some circumstance, because the virus had to come from somewhere. It wouldn't have generated on its own. And if they do try to swing that it generated on its own idea, that's an entirely different scenario that would take some really herky-jerky explanations for me to really be willing to believe. But in a general sense, like, this style of gameplay is something that I'm starting to get a bit more comfortable with. I did play A Plague Tale: Innocence recently. I played Metal Gear Solid 3 recently, although I did not play it as a stealth game, I'll admit. I just murdered everybody. I'm starting to learn where the appeal of these games come into play, and it is interesting to me where this one sits, because the setting is cool, but the story that they have revealed makes me question it in a way that makes me hesitant to want to invest myself in it. I think it actually looks all right. Some of the animations look a little wonky, and it looks like the only enemies so far, like, there was the one turret when they're talking about the red virus that like opened and stuff, but otherwise the only thing we're seeing in terms of environmental obstacles of enemies that are going to pursue you, he stood up finally, oh my god, in terms of environmental enemies are these genies, which are just floating orbs. So I'm curious what the overall approach seems to be, in terms of what the final product is going to look like. But we have none of these set a release window, did they? What is this at the end here? It's going to be on PlayStation and Steam. That's no surprise. A lot of these trailers had PlayStation plastered all over them, and that's okay. But still no idea of if this is even relatively close. There might be a developer interview out there somewhere, but in a more general sense, who knows where this game actually is in the grand scheme of things. I think it's something that we could pay attention to in terms of maybe keeping an eye on, but currently it's not something that is really high up on my radar at all, at least not at this junction, but it might be far enough out. I know we saw that first trailer 3 years ago, and while there has been some visual fidelity upgrades 3 years later leading to today, it doesn't look too significantly different in terms of the overall product being presented. And so with that in mind, I don't know how much farther out this might be, but that's Evotinction. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's the best guess that I got. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you've been following Evotinction for a long time, if you have that information or anything like that, I'd love to hear from you. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. Speaking of Discord, we actually have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can watch together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.